Guys and gals, the cat's out of the bag. The boys are in town and they've come to fuck you up. Do you know who the boys are? The boys are people like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Donald Trump, Bill Gates, and all of those delightful people. All of those oligarchical millionaires and billionaires. Why are they going to fuck you up? Well, because they're all heading towards a super agenda. If you look at your delightful Elon Musk, who all the idiots love, well, let's have a look at what he's doing. He's one of the biggest contractors on the planet for military intelligence. He works very close with the military, with lots of his projects. Anyone who's working with the military is working at world domination. Now, of course, Musk has got his idea of brain chips, and that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? It's to chip the human being. Written in the Bible, on the mark of their foreheads or on their right hand will be the mark of the beast. So Musk is full steam ahead on that, and working in liaison with the Trump government. Trump, of course, he's doing all different sorts of stuff these days. But one of the things I saw him announce the other day was that he's going to be building lunatic asylums. Maximum security, lunatic asylums. Who's going to be put in these places? All those which live on the street. He said it's sad, but we've got to clean our streets up. He said he didn't want to build these lunatic asylums, but unfortunately it's got to be done. And so what he will have to do, of course, he will have to be pushing bills through Parliament, Congress, to sentence people to these lunatic asylums. Not necessarily on the pretense that they are lunatics, because it's going to take an enormous amount of time to get that data. But anyone who is evidently a drug addict, and you know who the drug addicts are, because as soon as they go into prison, they go cold turkey and they get really fucked up. So I suppose that lots of them would end up going to prison first and foremost to get evaluated, and then when it turns out they're going cold turkey and all that different sorts of shit, then they'll be transferred to those other places with programs. Now, I'm pretty sure that they're going to have programs trying to repair the broken machines. But I think it's a fruitless endeavour, people. Anyone that's seriously down and out and lived that way of life for a long time, their body is so knackered, their minds are so fragmented and fragile. But, you know, there are cases, recovering addicts, and people go on to lead, you know, decent lives. And so, you know, I don't think that, you know, these oligarchs are evil. I think they're doing something because somebody's got to do something. And what do you do when you've got millions of people on the streets, drug addicts in America, fentanyl, is a massive, massive problem. Millions of deaths a year for fentanyl, and all different sorts of stuff. So Trump wants to clear the streets up. He's getting rid of the illegals, and he's not averse to using a lot of force. And I heard him say the other day, which was quite striking for a politician who is the leader of what is supposed to be called a Democratic Party. He said that sometimes leaders have to be dictators. And, you know, word is on the street that he is a dictator. And of course, people are levelling Nazi at him and all different sorts of stupid stuff, but they don't know what they're talking about, really. But he's got a strong arm. And he very much likes to use it. And he likes to deploy the services, military and armies and all different sorts of facility like that. Unfortunately, people got to cross this ley line to hell. No two ways about it. But it's going to get quiet soon. One of the things many leaders want to do is get rid of this. I want rid of this. I am tired of the combustion engine. I'm so sick of it. And the beauty that comes about when there is no noise on the road. Now, when most of the cars are taken off the road because it's just too expensive for people to run them, you're only going to have the essentials. And the essentials are going to be electric. And it's going to be quiet. High time. The combustion engine was a necessary evil. It took the world into where we are presently. And if you only look at when the first mass production car started to come off the production line, it was the Henry Ford Model T. And I think that was 1912. Barely over 100 years. And the world suffering. Granted, in recent times, they've closed the city centres from most unnecessary traffic. It needs to stop. So I'm with them on that. In relation to Elon Musk with his brain chips, well, there's a lot of stupid people. There's a lot of dangerous people. There's a lot of bad machines, broken machines. And so something's going to need to be done along those lines. Now, I've been speaking recently about Plato and his Republic and how he envisioned his utopia. And it was pretty authoritarian, people. Because it's the only way really it can be. It simply can't be all lovey and dovey. Because if it's all lovey and dovey, and you've got so many rights for the idiots, well, what are we going to create? Cesspools. We're just going to create cesspools. So no, we can't have all these rights for all these idiots and degenerates. People have got to clean up the countries. And so the boys are in town. Now, another one of these boys is Peter Thiel. Now, Peter Thiel is the founder of Palantir, which is the humongous surveillance company, which also has trillions and trillions of dollars of contracts with so many companies all around the world and governments. And the American government, of course, they use it for the army, they use it for gathering resources on illegals, they use it for surveillance, they use it for so much, because it's an incredible stealthy package, which has enabled people to rewrite how wars are fought again, because these packages, they just give so many other options. And basically it's the era where the computer will make all the decisions, because the likes of generals and people like that relying on a bit of information from here and there, those days are over. You've got drones which are going to be all over any hot zone. These drones will be feeding the information to a main computer. The computer will be making the decisions. And so, Palantir. Now that Palantir name, it derives from these like secret magic crystal ball type things from in the Lord of the Rings. Now apparently Peter Thiel, you know, a childhood prodigy, of course, super chess player, best in his whole country, and you know, a genius, IQ level and all that. So he was fascinated from a very young age with these Tolstoy. No, it's not. Is it Tolstoy? Tolkien. Lord of the Rings books. And within those Lord of the Rings books, there's these black like crystal ball things that you can view your enemies through, and then you can conspire to do evil. Now, I was listening to lots of Peter Thiel documentaries and reviews and, you know, all these different sorts of things last night. And it struck me that when Peter Thiel was about 8 years old, and he was absolutely engrossed and fascinated with these Lord of the Rings books, reading them over and over and over and over and over, how one day, let's say 40 years later, he would invent something, create something, name it the same, to use it for the same reasons, to spy on your adversaries, whoever that may be. We are their adversaries, people. We are the government's adversaries. We are the trillionaires' adversaries. We are the street urchins. We're the rats. And so all of this stuff used to gather information. And, you know, it won't be too long before people like me speaking about these things are going to be picked up by drones. I'm going to be surveilled. I'm too small at this moment in time, and probably never will get to any level where I'm going to be significant to them. But most certainly the people like David Icke and Alex Jones and Russell Brand, Candice Owens, the people with big platforms which have got something to say about these oligarchs, well, people end up dead. And Peter Thiel is kind of speculated to have killed a former lover. Now, Peter Thiel's gay, and he was married to this bloke, but he had this gay lover, this toy boy, this model, and the toy boy model got disillusioned and apparently jumped off, you know, a skyscraper, you know, very high, tall building, a few days after a big brouhaha. Well, then you've got Sam Altman, who also is speculated to have killed a business rival. And you know, these people with this amount of money, of course they can get these things done. They can spend so much money, they can cover their tracks so deeply that you know, it'll be like the Kennedy assassination. Nobody will ever know, because it's just too riddled. There's too much of a chain. Someone, you know, paid someone to whack someone. Someone paid someone to whack someone, and you know, the chain just goes on and on and on. So Then we've got Bill Gates. Bill Gates, like many of these oligarchs, is a eugenicist. His parents, father in particular, was a eugenicist. The whole family history of eugenics. And he's adamant that the world is going to be reduced, the population, and that everybody must have an ID card at least, and a chip, of course. They all want a chip, and Gates wants everyone to give themselves over to vaccines at the behest of the state whenever the state so desires. And so if you have that level of mentality with the herd, well, of course they're going to be pumping them full of nanobots, aren't they? And then they're going to be following them, monitoring them, programming their brains and everything by the multitude of nanobots. Tiny little electrode chips in the body, which are going to end up in the brain and taking over the brain. So, Sam Altman with his old fucking AI generation, he's supposed to be just a psychopath, bending all the rules and even not abiding to any of the safety rules. He's just going full steam ahead that it's going to be maximum AI because that's how it needs to be. And of course, he's supported by huge globalists, because that's what America wants. America is saying that we absolutely have to be first at any cost, because the alternative, well, is world domination by, an enemy. So when we look at these people, Kurzweil, you got Ray Kurzweil, who is adamant that everyone's going to be fucking cyborgs. All of these fucking people that they've turned into crazy scientists. You can imagine white hair like Einstein's all over the place, like Doc from Back to the Future. Marty, you've got to come back, Marty. Yeah, they're all like that. If you follow the stories of these people, like I've been doing, then you can see that they are so power hungry. They've turned into these comic book villains under the pretense of heroes. And so Peter Thiel was in an interview with some bigwig interviewer, and the interviewer asked him, so should the human race survive? And Peter Thiel was like, and the interviewer went, too much of a pause, really. Too much of a pause. Should the human race survive? Yes. Yes is the answer. And Peter Thiel was like, well, yes. But you see, the reservation is, people, what sort of a human being? That's the reservation. That's what he couldn't say. That's what none of them can say. Let's have a look at Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg wants to suck your minds into his metaverse. He wants you under the complete and utter control of that fictional world. He doesn't want you to do anything outside of that. He wants you to give him all of your data so he can profile you and lead you like the Pied Piper into captivity forever. So I'm just scratching the surface, people, with a few of these big names that are doing all this stuff, and there's lots of people talking about this stuff, what they're doing. I'm just listening to what's out there, what the consensus is with thinking people. Joe Rogan had an interview with Peter Thiel. Well, Peter Thiel was on his show, and I saw a clip, and Peter Thiel's like, it is 100 times worse than Elon Musk. Elon Musk. I don't know about these so-called geniuses, that can't articulate and string fucking coherent sentences together. I would have thought that would have been the first thing that was an indication of someone's genius. Their articulation, their mastery of their language, their fluidity of the language, and the ability to put very, very powerful and informative and coherent sentences together, calling on much of the information that they've gathered in their lives, just to keep reciting it and explaining whenever anybody wants to know about this and about that. Well, here's the answer. Lay it before them. These people can't do that. And of course you've got this autism thing being bounded around, which is, it's just scapegoating these people. I don't know about this super intelligence that these people are supposed to be, because when I listen to Musk, when I listen to Thiel, and I listen to Gates, I can't hear it. I can't. I can't see it, I can't hear it. And so, but what we do know, these people are the oligarchs which run the world, or most certainly the Western world. And they're doing all the machinations and supporting a great deal of the huge transitions which are coming about with humanity. The human being in its current state isn't going to survive this. It most certainly isn't going to survive it. So, when Rogan was interviewing or having a guest on as Peter Thiel, the question was kind of like, how important is the human being? Should we be protecting the human being, to live forever, and all these things? And Rogan, he put it like this. He said, how important was Australopithecus? How important were they to us now? A completely different species. He further said, how important was Neanderthal? And so, if you look towards the future, with reason, I think it would be fair to say, well look, the human being, they weren't that smart. They were called Homo sapiens, which is wise human. But that was a self-delusion. What we know now is they weren't wise. What is wise now is human 2.0, because it's connected to the World Wide Web, AI, every single piece of information that's ever been known about the human race, and the world and the cosmos. Potentially that's what these human beings will be connected to. And what I'm envisioning is that they're going to be selectively allowed or routed certain fields of information. For instance, if they want scientists, then they're going to route all of that stuff to them. So the scientists have a massive bank of foreknowledge of all their predecessors, and so they can build on that. Can you imagine how many scientists there are today that haven't got around to absorbing hundreds of thousands of scientific papers and the intricacies of, how many things work, like nuclear fusion, nuclear fission, and Einstein's theory of general relativity, and all the rest of it? How many of those scientists wouldn't really know how this stuff works? But if you've got a central database which can feed the relevant people this information, then everybody would have it, and they'd all be singing from the same song sheet. And you could say, well, why do we need human beings? Well, maybe the human being will still have something to give. I think I walk around here, it gets a bit windy that way. Maybe the human being has still got the edge of creation and imagination, you see. computers, I don't know how good they're going to be at imagination. And the whole thing about Einstein, you know, with his E equals mc squared, he envisioned himself flying at the speed of light on a rocket. And he thought, wow, what is the speed of light? What would happen if I travelled at the speed of light? Would time stand still? Yeah. So then he started to make the equations. So when you look at what's in the pipeline, people, it isn't looking good, is it? And when AI are doing all of these, you know, menial tasks, what are trillions of pink apes, uneducated pink apes, going to be doing? They ain't going to be living in the utopia. We can look back in the past and we can say, oh, we actually know from inventions, let's say the advent of the Industrial Revolution. People were speculating, well, when we've got all these machines to do all this stuff, well, the human beings will live in some sort of utopia where the machines are doing all the hard labour and this and the other. The machines do a lot of the hard labour. And, you know, speaking of which, there's one of those plant machines just there. You know, a HIAB, an extended crane type thing. The machines are fantastic. They've got incredible machines. But it's going further. They're not going to need the pink ape anymore. I don't know whether I can get round here. I think I can. It's quiet around here in any case. So when we look at the government's pushing for complete AI takeover, complete surveillance, complete subservience to the human being, well, things are going to change massively, aren't they? And once you've got this oligarchical system which has full, complete and utter mastery over the globe, you see, you've got people like Peter Thiel who's saying that freedom and democracy don't go together. Because with this so-called democracy, and you know, I'm an adherent of what he says, and I even thought about this before I heard it from him. I was saying that, look, democracy is a misnomer. It's not a democracy. We're not in a democracy now. What we're in the pretense of a democracy, but we are in actually an autocracy. We are actually living in a totalitarian world where the oligarchs are pulling all the strings, and the governments, they're still there, they're still playing the game, but and lots of people still believe in them. Lots of stupid people still believe that they've got power. They ain't got no power. They ain't got zero fucking power. They are just the gophers. They're like the office gophers for the ones upstairs who send down the instructions. And I was listening to one of our former British Prime Ministers, and her name was Liz Twill or Liz Tuft or something like that. And she was only Prime Minister for about 60 days. Something went down. But she said when she was in that position, she was astounded to discover that even she, with the so-called power that the Prime Minister is supposed to be able to wield, she couldn't find out where things derived from, because she said everything was massively compartmentalised and you could never find out who actually said this, because it all came down from above. And those downstairs can't look above. They don't know who's above. They just get the instructions from the boss, and it's like all a big shush shush, and you don't know who they are. These invisible organisations that if you utter a single word about, then you know you risk your whole family being fucking murdered. People, things like this are going on, and we've known for a long time that there are people on this planet, you know, you've got people like General Eisenhower with his last speech, and then you've got Kennedy saying this, and you know, they were probably the two of the biggest and most prominent of persons who broke it to the public all those years ago. But even back in the day with Abraham Lincoln, you know, being assassinated, and there's a lot of murky stuff, people. So the oligarchs own the world. They want it in a certain way, and that way is here. It's not finalised. It's got tweaking to do, but I think the infrastructure is all in place. And when it's all in place, people, and all these places, they're empty. You see, look, it's Saturday today, but I come up here on weekdays, and there's never any more cars than that. Whoever built this system, and this complex has been built out in about 20 years max, and they have these ideas that all those offices will be full of personnel. They've never been full, and for the whole of COVID, a whole 2 years, there wasn't a single car there except the security. And so something very, very big has changed from the vision of whoever created that complex. People aren't required anymore to work in offices. And of course, the whole COVID thing showed people the way. You know, it was all a fabrication to force people into doing that, to show them that it is possible, and to give people the option, and to open their eyes to the benefits. My daughter, she's worked from home ever since. She absolutely loves it. She can actually just lie in bed with a dressing gown on, with a cup of tea, with a laptop there and a phone by her side. She can do that. Her boss doesn't know whether she's doing whatever she's supposed to be doing. She can jump on her spin bike and get a bit of exercise in with the headset in, and then if a phone call comes through, she just stops and then she'll take it, make a cup of tea and have a sandwich whenever she wants to. So ultimately set working from home. Now, something else I'll run by you people is that what's happening with our cities all over the Western Hemisphere is that they're being infiltrated by what the indigenous people would consider to be very undesirable. And we only have to go online to see some of the shenanigans going on, with all of these creeds hanging around in the cities, and they think they've got massive autonomy because they know the police ain't doing anything because they're going to kick off, and they're just giving it the big one, and they're doing whatever they want to do, and snatching handbags, phones, and abusing people, and any number of things. Real verminous scumbags. And so this is why now the indigenous people of any country don't want to go into the cities anymore. They're just not safe anymore. And you've got people all in black balaclavas. How are they getting away with wearing a fucking balaclava? You, as a white man, try and get away with wearing a balaclava walking around your fucking town or city. The coppers will be on you within the fucking instant. And then they'll want your papers, and they'll want to know why you're doing that, and you know, look into your history and this, that and the other, and they're going to be thinking you're a big criminal. And yet, if you point the finger at thousands of them in our cities, they ain't got shit to say. They ain't got shit to say. But why they're doing this, people, is because ultimately the globalists, the World Economic Forum, want our cities empty. And the reason why they want them empty is because they're going to make 15-minute cities out of them. And these 15-minute cities means that you can't travel any further than 15 minutes from the centre. That's your world. And they want to curtail any unnecessary travel, and I think you're going to have a permit if you want to go to the neighbouring city or something like that, even if it's permissible. So these 15-minute cities, everything is going to be in the city for you. And you know, if the cities are anything like the Chinese cities, then there will be, because you can go online and you can watch Chinese companies And these Chinese companies, of course, they're absolutely massive. And they have built skyrise for all of their employees. And in these skyrise, they've got gyms, they've got swimming pools, they've got botanical gardens, they've got badminton and tennis and football. They've got all this stuff. People don't need to go anywhere. And then when they go down into the little townships, they've got all these open air food places where they've got a billion different varieties of food. I've seen cameramen go around and just speaking to the locals, it all seemed very, very natural to me. And the people seemed happy. And it's kind of like there's a monorail that runs around these cities that picks them up in the morning, takes them to the job and then drops them off. They've only got 10 minutes or fucking maximum, I think 15 minutes before they're at work or they're home. And then they've got all the amenities available to them. So they don't need cars. They don't need any fucking public transport other than the monorail, which will take them anywhere they want to go, because the whole city is premised on the easy access. So if the 15-minute cities are going to be like that in Europe, great. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a fucking good idea, people. But they are importing all of these undesirables, the basket of deplorables, as Hillary Clinton coined. Yes, they are importing the huge basket of deplorables, and all the indigenous people of these cities are fleeing. The businesses are going to pot. And all that's left now, if you go into any of these cities, very seldom do I do, but when I have, all that's left is fucking Turkish barbers, nail salons, hair salons, chip shops, Turkish chip shops, Afghanistan chip shops, fucking Macedonian chip shop, any fucking chip shop you can imagine. With big fucking cones of chips of different spices. You can have 500 fucking varieties of spice. That's what they've got. And then you've got the odd bank still there because they've not got all that tied up yet, because sometimes you've got to go take your physical ID into these people. You can't just take a fucking photo of it like that. No, they want to see you. They want to do the facial recognition, but by the time Palantir has been going for a few more months, well, all that will be in the bag as well. And so then those banks can close down. When all the businesses have left the city, the property ain't worth shit, and all of the shit people which are residing in the city, sleeping in the fucking doorways, most of them, well, they'll just be rounded up and taken elsewhere. And then all of the buildings which are listed, the old buildings, I think most of the prominent ones will be kept, and they'll be converted into very small apartments, because the World Economic Forum reckons that a regular family of 4 persons, 2 adults, 2 kids, can live in a 30 square metre apartment. And all the electricity and the gas and everything, it's all controlled centrally. You don't have any buttons. It's like being in the business, being in an office. The boiler room is downstairs in the basement, and that sends out all the heating for the whole fucking office. And all you can do is turn off your fucking radiator, or turn it down a little bit if it gets a bit too hot. But if they don't put it on, you can't turn it on, because it ain't on. So you've got all that stuff going on. You see, when we look at things, we have to try to apply a rational application. And when you know that the World Economic Forum want all the cars off the road, they want the 15-minute city, they want people living in tiny, tiny little fucking apartments, and they want to get rid of all the fucking miscreants and degenerates and this and the other, well, it's all going on before your very eyes. You see, if they told the people, all the people in the city, then the local governments would have millions of lawsuits on their hands. My business is here, I've been here since 1957, my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather started this business in this building, and all this sort of stuff. So they can't do that. They can't tell the fucking idiot what's going on. They just do it. They just send the fucking rats and the cockroaches in. It's beautiful. It's fucking priceless, isn't it? They're very clever. They're exceptionally clever. And so that's what they've done. They've sent in the rats and the fucking cockroaches. The rats and the cockroaches, they're fucking easy to deal with. When it's time for them to go, they're the easiest because they don't own fucking nothing except maybe a fucking sleeping bag and a fucking crack pipe. So the cities are almost empty. Now, if your city is anything like my city, the city of Leicester, it's got some beautiful old architecture, like all British cities, but there's a great number of the buildings which are just nasty shit, fucking just crap that was banged up in the fucking 70s and 80s and even 90s with no architectural prowess or fucking vision or anything, just cheap, just prefabricated shit. Well, all that stuff's going to come tumbling down, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it. You know, there's lots of things, people, that has to come under the all-pervasive, ever-pervasive and manifesting, moving energy of progress. You know, what we call progress. Things have to grow, and they have to change, and they have to morph and evolve. And so when I look around the world at cities, you know, places like Kazakhstan. Now, Borat took the piss out of Kazakhstan and made out it was this fucking, incestuous fucking donkey fucking ridden joint. But if you look at the fucking capital in Kazakhstan, you'll think you're in a sci-fi movie, because the buildings are fucking amazing. And then, of course, when you go to China and Dubai and all these places which you would think, oh, they're these nasty places and they're not good. No, Britain's good and America's good. No, they're not. They were once upon a time, let's say 200 years ago, when all these fucking fantastic buildings and cathedrals are built by who fucking knows not. And if you know anything about the global fucking flood, the mud flood thing, and if you've looked into that, all these buildings with this fantastic architecture, all made out of fucking stones carved by hand and timbers and fantastic, amazing technology. Well, they're all supposed to be built by guys, getting the deliveries with a horse and fucking cart and pulling all the fucking stuff up with rope and fucking pulleys, 500 feet up to the fucking spire of a cathedral or something like that. No, and there's no evidence, there's no blueprints of all this stuff going on. There's no photos of all the workers on all the scaffolding. No, they're just fucking made manifest. Well, that's another story. So we have a level of technology which we can't do now. We can't build cathedrals. Fucking hell, can you imagine? Where would we start building a cathedral like they did in the old days? We don't even know how the fucking pyramids were built. But we can build prefabs, fucking skyscrapers with fucking steel, and we've got a good understanding of stress and all the science and all that sort of stuff. But the world's going to be changing massively, and lots of the changes I'm very much looking forward to. Like I say, I'm very much looking forward to getting rid of this. I'm so tired of this. I've been tired of this ever since my spiritual awakening. It's the noise that spiritually awoken persons can't stand. It's that matrixial vibration. It cuts through us, man. It fucking cuts through us because we've become very, very sensitive to it. And we know that if we're going to be really, really healthy, then we need to be in peace. We need to be with the natural environment, with the natural noises. Natural noises aren't a problem. It's the matrixial noises. They're the ones that grind our spirit down, grind at our soul. So that's going to change. the shitholes of our cities is going to change. The simplicity of travel is going to change with vastly reduced noise. There won't fucking be any noise. Just rubber on the fucking road for some vehicles. How many of you are fucking annoyed to fuck with these videos that I make every fucking where I go? And I'm not even in the city. I'm just in a relatively small fucking village, town. It's not even a town. You know, there's a couple of pubs here and there, and a couple of small supermarkets. When I was living in this tiny little holiday resort down in the Algarve, 1 minute's walk from one of the most beautiful, incredible beaches on the planet. Well, there was only ever a handful of cars on the road. Those that were just coming to their tiny little seafront businesses. It was fucking heaven. And as soon as I got down, you see, you walk down like 150 steps from the cliff top where the buildings were. You go down, and so that's a natural buffer from all the noise, and all you've got then is the sound of the ocean and the seagulls. And I used just to spend days. I used to go down to those beaches 3 times every fucking day and walk for miles and miles and miles. I'd go to the gym, I'd play my music, and I'd be walking on the beach and be making all those wonderful videos. So much to see, so much to observe, so stimulating to an awakened mind. Here, very little to see, people. Very little to see. Now, I was of a mind to see how spring's coming along, and well, we've got crocuses coming up, we've got snowdrops coming up. There is indeed, you know, buds starting to open. I mentioned that there was one rose, tiny little rose, in my garden. You know, not even the end of January, people. And then I look around the world, and there's a good portion of the northern hemisphere under snow. We haven't had any amount of snow, maybe just a few flakes here and there, for fucking years. The last time we had like 12 inches of snow was like when I was like 15, 16, 17. It just doesn't happen anymore. But we're blessed in Britain, at the time being. There's another one. Get in your box. Get in your fucking box, you old fucker. What value to this planet were you in any case, Margaret? Huh? Born in 1947. You lived far too long. A drain on society, you were. I tell you what, if a bony old fucking hand came out from under that fucking turf and grabbed my ankle and started to pull me down into her box, well, that'd be something, wouldn't it? That'd be something, Margaret. Margaret. There's a woman I knew. She used to stop and sit on this bench with me. She was called Margaret. Pleasant old stick. Her husband was buried over there. He'd been dead about 15, 20 years, but she's always tending his grave. She used to come and sit with me here. And I filmed her on a couple of occasions, just having a chat. And she believed in Jesus and all that. I wonder if that's her. I haven't seen her because I don't sit here anymore. Because they've got the school there, and I just can't stand the sound of screaming rugrats. It's one of the worst fucking sounds I can imagine. My room 101 would be the screaming cacophony of a fucking primary school playground. Fucking hell. I'm just trying to see if there's any buds, any sign of spring. But you know, we've got 8 and 10 degrees. 8 and 10 degrees, people. Well, I think we only had about one day of 1 degree. And I don't even remember it being less than that. See those snowdrops? Yeah. Now, over here, I was just thinking about this place early on because I want to gather some more moss to make my terrariums. And I remembered last year that here there was some decent moss, but it's not that thick. It's too. It needs to be deeper. It needs to be deeper. Yes, people. So, you know, are you living? Are you just existing? Are you just waiting for Musk and Teal and Trump and Gates to do their thing? Are you just waiting? Are you like sheep in a pen, just waiting for the farmer to pole out one day when your time is up? Is that what you're waiting for? You're just paying the bills and you're just complying and you're just keeping your head down and hoping that Jesus is going to save you? Is that what you're doing, people? I'd highly recommend against that one, by the way, because it's very likely that the devil's here. The devil is very real. He's coming, he's got your number. I think that's plain to see. I haven't seen no evidence of baby Jesus and all these lovely things. No. Just stories, people. This is the evidence. You can see the evidence. You can see it with your own eyes. You can hear it with your own ears. You can see it encroaching all around you. And so, if all you're doing is just carry on as normal, well, it's what you deserve, isn't it? That's what you fucking deserve. That's what you deserve. Now me, I've lived my life. I've been far, far places for many, many years. I've lived 1,000 lives. And so now, I'm just a fly on the wall. I know that this body is just Maya. I'm not precious about my body. I'm not precious about the human being. I'm not precious about the human race. Just like all of those intelligent people. Intelligent people are not precious about this silly, fucked up bullshit. And, oh, you've come here to learn lessons and to gather information. Well, ultimately, what's that for then? So you don't have to come back, Aaron. Haven't you heard what the Buddhists have been saying? So you don't have to come back. Oh, what about the Christians? Well, yes, you believe in the Lord and then you'll go to him and then you won't have to come back fucking here again. So it's all about not coming back. So... Why are you all thinking it's so fucking precious? Don't get me wrong. I've enjoyed the fruits of the pink ape. I've certainly enjoyed much of what the pink ape has had to offer. And I'm still enjoying the labour of the pink ape. They're all labouring for me. Every single one of them, in some shape or form, is labouring for me. So, Peter Thiel, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, fucking little knobby fucking Zuckerberg, all of you boys, you're welcome. You're welcome to all that. You're welcome to your lives. I wouldn't want to have come here to have spent one fucking day living any of their lives. No. I've lived a very beautiful life. I've had incredible times. And I'm still very content now. And so I wonder how content Mr. Thiel is today. I wonder how content Bill Gates is when he's so frustrated that not enough pink apes are taking the ratings. He's just got to plot another way. Another way. Oh, goodness me. The minds are turning over so furiously. How are they going to do it all? It's kind of like they're not human, are they? They're not human. They can't be. To be driven like that. Why? They're all getting older. They're all getting more and more infirm. Ain't none of them gonna live for fucking ever. Like lots of them want to think so. They're all getting themselves frozen. You know, these cunts they're scared of the afterlife. You know why? Because they know they're going to fucking hell. That's why they're scared of dying. But whereas enlightened beings, we're not scared of dying. We know there's no such thing. Spirit just fucking continues. But if your soul's been a wicked soul, it's going to carry some weight. And that weight isn't going to enable it to rise. It's going to sink. And so, those fuckers know that. They're all going to end up in Dante's Inferno. That's where they're going. Where are you going? What are you doing? Are you living? Or are you just begging? Are you begging your existence, people?